Ladies and gents, from Origin Effects, it is the latest pedal in their Halcyon series. This is the Halcyon Blue Overdrive. So like the other two pedals in the Halcyon series of drives, this one is based on a classic drive effect, namely the Bluesbreaker. But, just like the other pedals in the Halcyon series, this one goes above and beyond and offers some cool features and tones that aren't available on the original versions. So first and foremost, a custom voicing, which has a lot more gain and fullness than the original Bluesbreaker, and I actually really like it. It sounds really good. It can actually kind of push your amp into high gain territory, which is something that a Bluesbreaker, original version of the Bluesbreaker could never really do. And the other really cool feature on the pedal is the adaptive circuitry. So what Origin aims to do with their adaptive circuitry is it makes the pedal more interactive with your guitar's volume control. So you can still get the standard Bluesbreaker sound. Put both these switches over all the way to the left and you got the Bluesbreaker circuit. But switch in that adaptive mode in either the first setting or the second setting. They give you two options for adaptive modes. And what happens is when you roll your guitar volume down, you're going to notice bigger bass, bigger treble, and less mids. And that kind of has the effect of cleaning up the guitar sound. So it makes the pedal sort of more dynamic when you use the volume. And I'm going to demonstrate that clearly for you later. You'll hear the original voicing and how it's got more mids and therefore like a little bit more overdrive. It just sounds a little bit more like a drive pedal is on. Whereas the two adaptive modes sound a little bit more kind of just like a tube amp distortion where you roll down and the amp is very dynamic and responsive with the volume control on the guitar, and you can get almost sort of quasi-cleanish sounds with bigger bass, bigger treble, less mids. In the first part in the song at the beginning of the video, I just rolled the volume up and down on my guitar from like 7 till 10. And it's subtle, but I did have the pedal in kind of the medium adaptive setting, and it is doing something. It's pretty neat. I mean, the clean dynamic character is much more like tube amp distortion to me than pedal or like, screamer style distortion or whatever. Even Bluesbreaker style distortion, I guess, is what this is based on. It just really feels like, the sound is cleaning up more and getting a little more hollowed out and a little more dynamic. Other controls on the pedal, you've got, of course, a level or volume control, a drive control for, gain or distortion amount. And then you've got a tone control, of course, and a dry control, dry mix control, kind of a signature staple on most, if not all, of Origin's pedals. The ability to mix in dry signal, which is really nice, and once again lends a sort of a more tube amp-like character to the tone, I think. Why do I say that? Well, many times when you turn on pedals, they just sort of will take over the whole sound a little bit more. But this, when you can blend in your dry signal, you're letting some signal get through, some clean signal. And if your amp is edgy or driven up a little bit, and then you're blending the distortion or overdrive from this pedal on top of that, and you blend in some of that clean signal, you just get this nice stringy attack that punches through. And it sort of just sounds more like the amp is doing most of the work, like you've cranked up the gain on a good amp that distorts or overdrives really nicely, even if you're using the pedal for all your distortion. So hopefully that makes sense. It's probably easier to hear. That's why I demonstrate things. So let's get on to the sound examples. You're hearing me play single coil guitars. I just decided to play Strat style, my old Strat, as well as my Sir Classic S in this whole video. So single coil guitars through both channel 1 and channel 2 of my PT15 signature amplifier from Sir. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I just got some lead guitar, and for this I've got the gain or drive control cranked like way up, and I've got the switch in the most adaptive setting for sort of the biggest bass and treble and least mids when I roll the volume down on the guitar. So when it's all the way up, it sounds like that. When I just have the volume on a little bit, sounds like that. Nice full treble, nice big bass. If I've got it in the standard Bluesbreaker style position, you can hear how it's a skinnier sound and a more mid-rangey sound. Adaptive position, bigger bass, more treble, less mids. And so it kind of cleans up a little bit because it's not pushing all those mids. Now let's take a look at the voice switch, because the voice switch really adds a ton of gain, and I love the voicing. Like, I like it more than the standard Bluesbreaker voicing by far. I'll show you. Now I'm boosting kind of a light crunch sound right now, so let me show you just the amp tone. Let's take a listen to what the dry knob does. Even with this high drive setting, boosting this crunchy sound, it adds punch and articulation and clarity to the sound. And kind of like a realism, almost like, I don't know, it just makes it sound more like the amp is doing all the work, like I've got a high gain drive setting going on the amplifier without adding a pedal. So here's with the dry all the way down. Boosting the dry up to 2 o'clock. And I don't know how much that comes across in a YouTube video, but it just sounds chewier and more ballsy and like with more punch and attack. It just sort of sounds more like a toothy Marshall, you know, when you bring in that dry control. To me, it gives it punch and articulation, and you don't really perceive it, especially not with this much dirt going, as like a layer of clean or anything like that. It just sounds like clarity. Clarity as opposed to clean, if that makes sense. That's the way that I'm hearing it. Let me turn the drive down to about half now, and we'll listen to it. I'll put it on about 1 o'clock, and then I'll play with the dry control now. It's just got a little more teeth and a little more punch on every note, a little more articulation. It's pretty nice. Let's sweep the tone control. Kind of no bad sound, really. It just kind of works all the way across the range, and it's just, you know, there for you to fine-tune the articulation and stuff. So the adaptive thing, I'm going to roll the volume down on the guitar, and we're going to try once again the standard position, Bluesbreaker position, and then adaptive 1 and 2. Right when I do that, when I switch it into the Bluesbreaker mode with this sort of lower drive setting, you can hear the mids boost up and like more gain and less clean. And this is with the volume down on the guitar. You just hear that gain and mids bump up a little bit, and you get less of the clean thing. So, you know, long story short, just like on the other adaptive pedals that Origin makes with this adaptive technology, it's just a really, really nice feature that allows for more expressive range across the range of the volume control on your guitar to get things to clean up and to get more variety of tone out of the pedal. And it sort of makes the pedal maybe a bit more of an always-on affair. You know, you could put it in this pickup position in the most adaptive setting. Let's see here, and you know. And have plenty of top end clarity, and you know, that could be one's clean sound, you know, or like a. So one person's clean is another person's, you know, semi-overdriven, but you know what I mean. Thanks for watching my video on the Halcyon Blue Overdrive. Super dynamic, awesome sounding overdrive effect from Origin Effects. Really love the new voicing that they did, their take on the classic Bluesbreaker sound, adding more fullness and gain. It's really nice, kind of takes it into a whole nother zone gain-wise for me. And you know, you're able to get sounds just out of that feature that you can't get out of your standard Bluesbreaker style drives. But add to that the adaptive circuitry, which makes the pedal more fun and dynamic when you're using the volume control on the guitar and switching between different pickups, different output settings. And then also that dry control so that you can blend in some dry signal and get lots of clarity and attack and punch. I like all the pedals in this series. Good job, Origin Effects. You can check it out further at the link down there in the video description below. Click there for more info on the Halcyon Blue. Take care, you guys. Over and out. Be nice to one another out there. I am Pete Thorne. See ya.